Everybody, it is 501, week number 3. Really excited to have you here. Even though you're not here, I'm excited you're watching this video. And I'm excited to be doing the video for you. I was going to say with you. Maybe with you? I don't know. That was a rough start. But I'm really excited actually about Google Forms. Now, Google Forms are kind of magical. And I'm not just saying this because it's on week 3 and I happen to be the instructor for the course, and you have to do an assignment using Google Forms. I am legitimately excited about what Google Forms can do. I've presented at it at more than one conference called Choose Your Own Adventure. Best title ever, using Google Forms for like so many things. It's so powerful. So first, let's talk about the assignment, which is a great kind of introduction to what Google Forms is capable of. Also, as we look at the Google for Education Educator Level 1, you're going to be looking at Google Drawings. I think Forms are part of that. You're just going to continue working on that. By the way, there is not a discussion board this week. So Google Forms, you're doing a summative assessment, so you're using Google Form. And if you're still confused at this point between summative and formative, the only way I was able to ever keep them straight when I was learning it is summative is like a summary. It's the whole thing, like a unit test. Formative is like forming your ideas as you go. It's that really small check where you can reteach or pivot based on student performance on the formative assessment, which is one of many ways, including a summative assessment, one of many ways that we know where a student is in our class. So you're going to use a self-grading Google form. Google Forms can be turned into a quiz. Now, one of the tricks with this is you have to have a multiple choice type answer. True, false, yes, no, pick from one of these 4 and it's true. Give me a paragraph and give me your thoughts. Sure, but it can't be a graded part of a quiz. If it's a word you have to enter, it needs to be case sensitive and like word specific. So if there's more than one answer, do not do a fill in the blank form. Keep it simple, but also this is one of those things where you're like, how am I going to grade all this stuff? This is how you can do it in a Google form. Now, what Google Forms are going to get you that like a Scantron won't. My kids, by the way, just saw a Scantron like in some YouTube video for the first time. They're like, look at this thing. It's like, yep. You can add videos, you can add links, you can add photos. For multiple choice, you can add a photo for each one of those. If you want to be a little bit fancy, you can even go to page based on answer. And so you can make it actually like an adaptive type of quiz. But at that point, it can't be required. Because if there's kind of 3 pages, and at the end of page 1, if they get that one wrong, it goes to the easy page 2. If they get that right, it goes to the hard page 3. It also might be going to it, and if you get that one wrong, you click your answer, and if you said true, oof, let's go to page 2, and there's a reteach video where you're like, oh, you said true. That's actually not right. Let me explain why that is wrong. Or you go to page 3 because you did false, and it's go to page based on answer. And page 3 is like, oh, you got it right. So it's going to be a summative assessment, self-grading in Google Forms. Make sure it is something that is gradable, not a paragraph. There's not a discussion board. I mentioned that. Also, I had a throwback, by the way, back when like t-shirts were like tight around the arms when I was working the Google for Education booth at some ed tech conference. So I thought I would wear that this week and rep the Google for Education team. Yay. But Google Forms can do so much more. My favorite way of doing this, or my favorite kind of hack for Google Forms, is the go to page based on answer, but where you actually use it as like a choose your own adventure book. Now this can be with photos, videos, or just text. So let's look at just text because that's closest to the choose your own adventure books. If you don't know what that is, pause the video, Google choose your own adventure books from like the mid 80s. They were extraordinary, and we can do multimedia versions of that. So at its most simplest, a student's like, I don't know what to do next in my story. I'm writing like a longer form piece of fiction. Paste what you've got, and then multiple choice. If the character does this, character does that, and then submit. And then you get data on that as the author. Oh, 81% of the people want to see my character go to the dragon, and only 20% want to see them go to the volcano. All right, cool. Like, let's go with dragons. That's more popular. Um, but it could also be you write your story out like that, and write, dragon or volcano. Dragon, you click on dragon, and then you go to page based on answer of that multiple choice question. And now page 3 is the dragon story. And then dragon. Does your character fight the dragon or run? Fight the dragon, go to page 5. Run, go to page 4. And you can actually build out a choose your own adventure book using Google Forms. You also, once they click submit as the author, get analytics on which paths people chose. So that's already pretty cool. But you can use this, like I said, in a more of kind of a teachery way of like reteaching if they get stuff wrong. You can have videos, you can have photos attached to multiple choice questions, you can have just photos or videos kind of wherever. So you can actually do like a video, like a 1 minute video of like, just we're making a story of like these kids are playing like next to the way to the gym, and they're like, here comes someone. What do we do? Approach the person or ignore them? And then you're like, ignore them. And so then you click that next, and that goes to page 2. And then page 2 is like, just ignore them. And the video continues. And the person's like, oh, I'm having such a bad day. And it cuts to them, and you could have made their day, but you didn't know. Or whatever. Like that's like a kind, whatever, moral of the story. But you can do all of this built in photos, videos, text. You can also link to other stuff. At some point when we get into Google Maps and using My Maps, you can actually link to a map and then link back to part of a Google form. There's so many exciting ways that Google Forms can be used in deeply creative ways that aren't just sign up for a lunch club, sign up for an after school sport, take the quiz, summative assessment, which you have to do for this, which is a great start. But like these deeply creative ways that are actually really, really interesting. So Google Forms is good stuff. Hopefully you'll see it and go, oh, like there's so many possibilities with it. You can also have like a Google Doc and then link to a form at the end of it, or it could be like, watch this video, throw up a QR code or a link at the end and the end of that video. Then they go to a Google form. You could have it be on a Google site or a blog post and be like, watch the video, then do a Google form. It could be do a Google form, and the end of the Google form is a video where there's direct instruction, or like there's so many possibilities that are both kind of more traditional instructional, kind of traditional quiz or test, or just like really interesting ways to get multimedia stuff to students. And then also once you model that for students, to have them actually create assignments that they submit to you as a Google form. So they're like, I made a movie. Here's the link to my Google form. Right? That's some cool stuff. So that is all for week 3. No discussion board. Yes, Google Form set of assessment. Continue on with your reading of Tanya and Holly's book, and you're working on units 5 and 6 for the Google Educator Level 1 certification exam. You're going to be taking a quiz during week 8 as your final part of this course. So please continue on with that. And that is all for week number 3. Happy week 3, everybody.